My name is Katia Garza, and the interdisciplinary lesson that I will be interested in doing it's the one that involves math and art. A lot of students are tend to be or tend to have a negative attitude towards math, so I thought that incorporating art and in a math lesson that would help them be engaged. So, an interesting fact is that interdisciplinary lessons can engage students, like I was saying, that might be or that might have a negative attitude towards math. They can see that math it can be used in different areas and not just like, oh, okay, yes, we have to do this, we have to learn. So they can see that math is also used in art and in other fields. The main idea is to use fractals. Fractals are I will show you a picture. Fractals are can be used to analyze the relation of similarity concepts in two-dimensional geometries. For instance, fractals it's all about self-similarity. So here the triangles, they're using one and then they're using another triangle inside a triangle, so that it's like self-similarity. So I thought that these fractal ideas can be used for a lesson in geometry that talks about similarity. Here we have an hexagon, and inside we have many different hexagons in different with different side measurements. Also, this one it's a big triangle, and then we have triangles inside that triangle. These ones are squares, and we can see like they're similar but in proportion. So, with that being said, one of the main objectives that I would have for this lesson is to identify corresponding angles and side lengths by comparing two figures. For instance, I can have a bigger square, and then I can have this figure compared to a smaller one. Another objective is to apply ratios and proportions to solve problems using similarity properties. That it's also it comes with the similarity lesson plan, like we learn the different properties. Also solve unknown measurements of corresponding parts. So if you have one figure and you're only given one side length, then if you know the ratio, you can find out what's the proportion for the other one. So for the lesson plan, and of course, as I was saying, the main idea is to get students engaged or involved in this lesson. So it goes with the theory that we were learning, the ecological theory, where we tend to use whatever students are interested in. We're using that in incorporating that in a lesson. So also, since the class that I was assigned to, the high school class, it's a pre-AP class. So I also have that in mind, that I have to keep that I have to come up with challenging activities that would have the students engaged. And since these are like pre-AP students, they usually get bored with just regular activities. So that's another thing that I had in mind. So I will be starting to engage them. I will show them this type of activities, or these types of visuals, the fractals, and I will ask students to describe these figures. I will use that as an engage. So I would introduce fractals and then have them describe these fractals. Next, for the explore stage, I will have like different stations around the classroom, and then students can compare, or each station is gonna have a paper, and they're gonna have to they're gonna have to determine if the figure is similar or not, according to the proportions they're gonna be given. Then students can be also working in pairs, and then for the explain, I will have them, like, I will call out students by random and ask them to give me, because in the stations they're gonna have to determine if it's similar or not. And also I will like for them to write a description or justification for their answers. And then for the explain, I will call out some students and then for them to explain what they their different answers and their descriptions or justifications. For the elaborate part, this one I think I will use that I will ask students to design their own fractals using similar figures. So as they saw the examples, they're gonna be creating their own design, and they're gonna have to justify why are they similar using different measurements and a brief explanation. Maybe they can even name their art piece, and we can have like a gallery or something around the classroom. And I think that would help for them to use their artistic side, also using math. So I thought it was a good idea to incorporate this like artistic side with the fractals and all that with the similarity lesson. Lastly, for the evaluation part, I would just have them do a five question handout, and for them to solve for what we learned about similar figures, also the properties, and the different proportions, the ratios, and all that. Thank you.